Hi, we are looking at the spreadsheet that we created or developed in the last session, and I'm going to do a little more with the macro. Now, we've seen before how to get to the Visual Basic Editor, so I'm just going to go there. Now, this is the macro as I had it before, and there's a few things that I'm not happy about. The first thing is that I've kind of repeated myself quite a lot here with this active cell and the offset piece, and if I'm going to come back to this in 6 months and try and understand what I'm trying to do here, it's making it more complicated than it really needs to be. So I'm going to try and fix that. And then the other thing I'm going to fix is that if you think about it, this macro at the moment, if you selected a cell in your spreadsheet which already contained text and ran the macro, it's going to punch that data, the name and date, right over your existing data, which might not be good for the user. That might not be what they want to do at all. So I'm going to put something into the logic of the macro so that if there's some data there already, that it says something like, I can't type in here because these cells already have values. Okay, so the first thing to do is to get rid of some of this repetitiveness and make the macro slightly easier to read as well. Okay, well, the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to start using a variable to refer to the cell that I'm completing. I'm going to use a variable for both the first cell and for the second cell. And the way to do that is to assign this cell to a variable, and the command we need to use is set. So we're going to set, and I'm going to use the variable name first cell because that makes entire sense. First cell equals the active cell. Okay, so I clicked enter there, and you can see that the VBA editor has recognised this active cell, which I didn't put capitals into. It's recognised that as a proper command, so it's put capitals in for me. And also please notice that the variable I used, I started with a lowercase letter, and that means it's just my own convention. It just means it's easier for me to spot which of these words are proper VBA commands or are my own variables. So this I can tell is my own variable. So this variable called first cell, I can refer to it later, is the active cell. And I'm going to have a second line here which says set second cell equals active cell dot offset 1,0. Okay, hitting enter again, and as this line gets compiled, the Visual Basic Editor has capitalised these words, so I know I haven't misspelled them. Also, if I'd misspelled them, actually I'd get that kind of dong message, this will turn red, just warning me that I've written a line that couldn't be compiled. Okay, so I can replace this variable here. So this active cell value, I can now say is first cell value. And this whole lot here I can change to second cell. I didn't quite get that last bracket, so okay, I'm clicking out of it. I'm not getting any warning message, so these have been compiled okay. Okay. So now we're going to do our first if statement, and almost always when I do my if statements I do them as blocks. So we talked about that in the last video, and I'm going to write it out now and then explain to you what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to say if first cell oops. Okay. So what I'm saying here is, if the first cell value is blank and the second cell value is blank, then I can go ahead with my code. Then I'm going to write a few lines here. Then I'm going to say what happens if that's not the case. So I'm going to say else here. I'm going to give myself some room. I'm going to write some more code here. And I'm going to put here end if. And that's the end of my block of code. Right, so let's give myself some space here as well. So if these two are both blank, then I can do all of these things, can't I? So let's move them into here. Okay, and as I said before, I'm going to put a tab, I'm just pressing the tab key here before each of them, so that I can see that they're part of this block. I'm just deleting, so I can move that else up here. So it's going to say if this is true, then run all of this code, else or otherwise run this code here, which I'm going to type. And here I'm going to say message box, which is a new command here, of course, and this will just bring up a message which is presented to the user, and it says I can type here. Okay, so I've got some explaining to do. Let me just click out of here again to make sure that the thing compiles. It doesn't. So I'm going to do some debugging as well. So it says, okay, it's got this message box. It says I can't type here as the cells have values. That's the first variable in this function, and it says VB OK only and unable to complete. So I just want a space in there, don't I? That wasn't the problem. The problem was I just need to put in here y equals. Now, what will happen here is this message box will appear. You'll see it in a moment or two, and it says I can't type here. And then there is this number. This is a number actually. It's a variable, and it's a number. It holds a number. You don't need to remember what the number is. You can just use this value here. But it's a value which will make sure that the message box just has an OK box. So the user's not going to be expected to do anything with this. It just clicks OK and it goes away. And at the top, in the kind of the banner at the top of the box, it says it's unable to complete. Okay, now this is pretty good. Okay, but there's one or two other little pieces in here that I want to fix even further. Okay, so this cell here says the value is now. Now, what they'll do is it'll give it a number which is representative of today's date and today's time as well. So that's good, but I don't want the time of day to be included in that value. So I'm going to round that down to the nearest number. So I'm just going to change that to int, which means change it to an integer. In brackets now. And yes, I think that's okay actually. That's the rest of it's fine by me. Okay, let's now have a look at the macro and see if we can get it to run, or whether we've got some debugging to do. Okay, so that's fine. And to prove that it won't run if there is some text here, it comes up with that box, that message box says I can't type here as the cells have values. On the banner it says unable to complete. You click OK and the macro is finished. So that's the macro tidied up.